What is good, IE Sports Radio fans and family? It's your boy, the SoCal Saint, back at it again with a very special edition of the IE Wrestling Show, your direct feed for all that is professional wrestling on the only network that is your direct feed for all that is sports, IE Sports Radio. And please join me in giving a round of applause and congratulations and just a celebration. Today is officially 10 years of IE Sports Radio being your direct feed for all that is sports. Guys, give yourself a hand. That's right. That is just amazing. Amazing. That's so awesome. That's crazy. 10 years have passed already. Insane. I really wanted to do something special today, which I am. I'm still going to do something special as far as the nature of the episode today. I wanted to be able to go live, like video, with video today, so y'all could see my beautiful mug. But technical difficulties, and I guess I'm just too old. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. You know what I mean? So it's gonna take me a little longer to get the hang of that. So I promise you will see a live video streaming episode of the IE Wrestling Show in the very near future. I guarantee that. But guys, I just want to say this real quick before we get started, before I give you the usual jibber jabber, I want to say this from the bottom of my heart. Thank you to my boy, Larry B. Larry, we go way back, man. I'm about to get like 100% real with you. I hope you're listening. I think, you just popped up in the chat room. And shout out to Taryn and Jen B in the chat room. Bro, we've been down for quite a while, man. It goes all the way back to our Paris High School days, and you've always been such a real good friend to me, man. And one of the few people that have actually kept in touch with me all these years, even when I moved out of state over here to Texas. Like, you still kept in touch with me. I'd always check in with you to see how you were doing, man. And you've always been a good dude, man, always preaching positivity, and that is just something I've always loved about you, man. Like, real talk, dude. I cherish our friendship very much. It's grown over the years. I know we don't get a chance to really rap as much lately because we all are both busy in our everyday lives. You're married and you're going to school and you're working, and I'm married with a kiddo and working my ass off, and it's just life has, it is what it is, you know what I mean? But we always come together when we can. We chat it up, and this right here, this thing that we are so passionate about, IE Sports Radio, the thing that you took the initiative and created yourself, it seemed to even kept us even more so intertwined with each other all these years. And I remember when I first was talking to you about it, and it just kind of dawned on my, that I was like, man, that's what I was thinking about doing myself. And then here I go, seeing my buddy back home doing it, like, oh man, he took the initiative, he did it, he's actually doing it, and I just wanted to be a part of it. And I reached out to him, and I'll never forget, he linked me up with a woman I always like to refer to as the first lady of IE Sports Radio, Felicia Ruiz. She was my old school co-host for my very first go around with the IE Sports Radio family, when we called it the gorilla position. It was me and her talking about professional wrestling and all sorts of different avenues about professional wrestling. And then it evolved into what came to be known for a short time as Ring Rambling Radio. And then I took a hiatus that was very unfortunate, that it sucked. You know what I mean? It really sucked that I had missed out on that time. But, me and Larry B have always stayed in touch, and I just told him, like, hey man, I really want to get back into it, and I really want to dedicate myself to it as best I can with the most that I could give, you know what I mean, as far as, being a part of this group. I know not everybody in the IE Sports Radio family really knows me. I know a lot of you guys haven't really chatted with me, and I know I'm not really present as much as I should be when it comes to like group chats and things like that, and that I apologize for sincerely. It's just sometimes life just gets in the way of stuff like that, unfortunately. And I'm sure that my brand of my brand of show, a lot of people look down on it because it's not technically a quote unquote sport. It's sports entertainment. But just like any of you with the sports that you guys are so passionate about, NASCAR, volleyball, football, baseball, soccer, hockey, anything that you're super passionate about, professional wrestling is like that for me. And Larry, one of my best friends that I cherish our friendship very deeply, was able to give me a platform to express my passion here on his platform. And I'll never forget the very first episode we ever went live with was November of 2014. It was the Survivor Series. And what a way for me and Felicia to kick off our very first episode of the Gorilla Position, what it was known as, briefly, of course, was the WWE debut of the icon Sting. And it's so funny that 10 years later, I'm still here with IE Sports Radio, and I recently did an episode discussing the retirement of Sting, when the very first episode that I did on this platform was the WWE debut of Sting. So, man, it's just crazy how, like, everything comes full circle. You know what I mean? And I just want to say, like, Larry B, bro, I don't know what it is about us parasites, but we stick together, bro. So, shout out to you, brother. I love you, man. Thank you to all the loyal listeners of IE Wrestling Show. I love y'all. I cherish y'all. I thank y'all very much. To the IE Sports Radio family, who's been very welcoming, very awesome, just, and just all around, just good people like Ralph Calise, like Taryn Rodriguez, like Jen B, like Marcus Losgrade, even though he likes to hate on Cody, and of course Larry B. I cherish each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all for taking time out of your days to listen to a chubby Blaxican talk about his love for professional wrestling. It is very, very much appreciative. And once again, congratulations, IE Sports Radio, on 10 years, man. 10 years. Now, can you dig that, sucker? Guys, oh man, I love it. I love it. This is awesome. I can't believe it. 10 freaking years. That's so crazy. It's crazy to me how time has flown by just so quickly, man. Cherish these days, because as you know, tomorrow is never promised. You got to cherish today. That's why it's called the present. And damn it, I'm going to do that. And these 10 years have literally flown by. It's grown to I've never seen. I think that this is the most shows I've ever seen under the IE Sports Radio banner, and I feel like 10 years we're gonna start hitting our stride, guys. We're gonna start getting somewhere, and I feel like we already have. You know what I mean? And there's only one way for us to go, and that is up. So, my special contribution to the 10-year anniversary of IE Sports Radio, for me, I know wrestling is subjective, and people's opinions will be people's opinions, but for me, today, my contribution to the 10-year celebration of IE Sports Radio is I will be counting down the best matches from each year of IE Sports Radio's decade of dominance, from 2014 to right now here in 2024. I know it's pretty early to have a favorite match already this year. It's only May, but I was able to pick a match for this year already, and I don't think it's going to change. So We're going to get into that here shortly, but I do want to just throw in a couple of plugs real quick. Please follow me on the X and on TikTok at IE Wrestling Show. That's at IE Wrestling Show. Please follow IE Sports Radio at IE Sports Radio, both on TikTok and on, I said both, on multiple platforms actually, Facebook, TikTok, X, Instagram, and YouTube. We have an official YouTube channel, and we also have an official website, iesportsradio.com. Go to iesportsradio.com. You can actually join for free and interact with all the hosts, read blog postings, check out our bio pages, check out old episodes of the shows that you love to listen to. If you're just now tuning into IE Sports Radio and you want to catch up, the full libraries of every show is on the IE Sports Radio website. Check out the IE Sports Radio Hall of Fame that we have created over the last few years. And if you are a fan of IE Sports Radio and you want to throw some shekels our way to show your love and appreciation for what we do for you, the awesome, avid, passionate sports fan, with shows brought to you by the avid, passionate sports fan, go to the IE Sports Radio shop and buy yourself a t-shirt, a tank top, a hat, and rep that IE Sports Radio love, guys. I got to get with you, Larry, because I need to buy a hat, bro. I don't know. Do we only have the Flex Fit hats right now, or do you have the snapbacks? We can talk about that later. Anyway, and also, shout out to our official sponsor, delicious, premium, 100% beef brisket beef jerky, Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky. Go to planetjerky.net and order yourself some delicious beef brisket beef jerky, guys. Mwah, it's muy delicioso. Planet Jerky. This jerky's on a whole other planet. Yeah! I changed it up a little bit. I went with LA Knight this time, but...
Oh, yeah, the Macho Man, Randy Savage. He wants to say, hey, Larry B out there, yeah. You know what? When I look at you, brother, I seen what you've done with IE Sports Radio. One saying comes to mind. The cream always rises to the top. Yeah! Oh, yeah! So I want you to say, can you dig it? I say IE Sports Radio goes on for another 10 years and another 10 years. And, ooh, yeah! That's gonna be just too sweet. All
right, guys. We'll be back. I'm going to take a quick little break, and we'll be back. And we're going to get started with a little bit of news just before we get into this big countdown that I have really put some work into. I really took my time to really pick the best matches from each year, from 2014 to the year of our Lord 2024. I'll be back in just a moment.
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Callum Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
What's up, Pittsburgh? This is Ralph DeLeese, the host of the Injury Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Are you that passionate diehard Steelers, Penguins, Pirates, or just a Pittsburgh sports fan? Then please join me on the Injury Report every Tuesday on IE Sports Radio, the direct feed for All That Is Sports, and I will update you on all that's black and gold and have you telling your Pittsburgh fans and friends what's up with Pittsburgh sports. Tune in Tuesday with me, Ralph Calise, the User Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for All That Is Sports. Let's go!
What's good, y'all? I hope y'all still tuning in live to the IE Wrestling Show, your direct feed for all that is professional wrestling on the only network that is your direct feed for all that is sports that celebrated 10 years in the words of the Merc with the Mouth Deadpool. Let's fucking go! That's right! Oh, man, I can't wait for that movie. Is anybody else, I know I'm getting off track here but is anybody else really pumped and hyped for Deadpool and Wolverine in just a couple months? I am so ready. Hell, let's go! I'm so down. Oh, man, I'm so excited. And I'm also excited for the NFL to release the schedules for this upcoming season, because I want to see what our first game will be like for my New Orleans Saints. Who that say they're going to beat them Saints? I loved some of the postseason moves that the Saints have made, and I'm really excited to see what this upcoming season will do for the black and gold team. I'm really excited. Just a little tidbit. This is a shout out to It's Drewski. I don't know if he's listening or if he's listening later on the download, but maybe I'll catch you at the upcoming Cowboys game, because it is official that this year the Saints are coming to Dallas to play the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium, and I'm looking forward to getting myself a ticket for that game. I'm definitely going to try and be in attendance for that one live. And also, we got that big old fight coming up here in AT&T Stadium, the one that's going to be broadcasting for free on Netflix, the big boxing match that apparently now was supposed to be fought under exhibition rules, but now apparently is not. So I'm pretty sure we're about to witness the murder of Jake Paul in just a couple months when Mike Tyson steps in the ring with Jake Paul. I can just see it now. Jake, say what you will about Mike Tyson's age and whatnot, but that man is a scary man still to this day. Mike Tyson could be literally in his 80s, using a walker, could barely move, and I would still be afraid to say any ill will towards that man, because I feel he would still knock your teeth down your throat. So, Jake Paul, yeah, you may have, youth on your side, but there's no fucking way you're escaping the hands of Iron Mike Tyson, okay? Anyway, just to get, I'm going off on a little tangent there. So I got a little bit of wrestling news. Just wanted to discuss this. So, update on the rights, upcoming this coming fall for the WWE. WWE has made an agreement with the USA Network for $25 million to keep Raw on the air from October through December, all the way into the new year, just before the Netflix deal begins in January of 2025 with Monday Night Raw, because the deal with Raw was actually up in October, so there was this window period where Raw didn't have a home until this deal was finalized just last week by Nick Khan and TKO. WWE staying on the air with the USA Network from October through December until the new year, and when it's ready for the move to Netflix. And same thing with Fox. Fox is actually losing the rights to WWE SmackDown already this coming September. As of September 13th, we will see the final episode of Friday Night SmackDown on the Fox network, and SmackDown will then start resuming on USA Network. September 2024, SmackDown and Raw will both be on the same network just on different days, Mondays and Fridays, starting September of this year. And also starting this fall, if you haven't forgotten, I know I talked about it months ago, but NXT will also be debuting on their new network. They'll be moving from the USA Network to the CW Network. I believe they'll still be on Tuesday nights, as far as I know. I don't think anything about that has changed. Let's see here. What else can we get into? So, I don't know if I discussed this before, or at least last week. If I did, I do apologize if I'm repeating myself, but The Rock is producing a new mini docuseries. It's going to be for 4 episodes. It's coming to you live from the Seven Bucks Productions, which is the company owned by The Rock, and the guys who produced that awesome series that's on Vice. It'll also be premiering on Vice, this new show. The producers of Dark Side of the Ring, and The Rock teaming up to produce Who Killed WCW, a 4-part docuseries about the rise and fall, of WWE's biggest threat during the mid to late 90s, World Championship Wrestling. I'm actually excited to see this because under the WWE umbrella, when they've made documentaries about WCW and its rise and fall and yada yada, the revisionist history, and of course everything that they've discussed has always been very pro WWE. And I feel like even though The Rock is on the board of TKO, this is separate from that, and he's doing it off the network. It's not affiliated with the WWE in any way. That I feel like we're actually going to get genuine reactions from those who were actually there, who were actually working for WCW at the time. In the commercial, you can see they've interviewed Eric Bischoff, the former president of WCW, Kevin Nash, a former WCW world champion. I don't know who else has been interviewed for the show. I'm pretty sure other WCW alumni will be a part of the show. And I think The Rock has even sat down and will be interviewed as well. Talking about WCW, even though he never wrestled for WCW, but he was a part of the Monday Night Wars during the Attitude Era for the WWF at the time. So I think this is going to be an actual nice little change of pace to see a different version, an outsider's aspect, outside of the WWE anyway, retelling of the story of WCW's rise to power and fall from grace. So I'm really excited about that. That's actually going to be premiering. Let me give you a date. I think there is a date for the premiere. It's going to be premiering on June 4th. So we're actually just a few weeks away from its premiere for the WCW docuseries on Vice. And also in the trailer, I forgot to mention some of the other key players that were interviewed for the series: Vince Russo, Goldberg, and Booker T. So yeah. Looks like it's going to be a good show. It's only 4 episodes, but sometimes less is more, so I'm really excited to see that. I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if any of you guys will be excited to see that, but if you're into wrestling history like I am, I think it'll definitely be worth a watch for sure. And let's see here. Shout out to former WWE superstar Mansoor. Mansoor and Massey, formerly known as Maximum Male Models, I think they still call themselves that on the indie scene. They recently went to Uganda for the Soft Ground Wrestling League. I don't know if anybody's seen these videos of these kids wrestling in mud in Uganda. These guys made a huge donation to them, and they actually went out there and wrestled with these guys, these passionate wrestling fans out in Uganda, the Massey and Mansoor, and Mansoor's mother has donated enough money so that the soft ground wrestlers of Soft Ground Wrestling Uganda can purchase a van to travel and wrestle in other areas. And not only that, they also have been donated enough money to actually have a wrestling ring built for them, so they no longer have to wrestle on ground, on mud. They can actually wrestle in an actual wrestling ring. That's just, wrestling is far bigger than just here in the United States, guys. Wrestling is global. Wrestling is everywhere. And this is a prime example of that. So that's really awesome to hear. That's really, really cool, man. I'm excited to see that. So I talked about this last week. I didn't really get in depth into it, but there was recently an interview done by the manager of Olympic gold medalist Gable Steveson with Ariel Helwani on his MMA Hour podcast, discussing Stevenson's recent WWE release. And this is what Dave Martin, the manager of Gable Steveson, had to say. Gable Steveson is very grateful for the opportunities he had with WWE and would like to thank everybody in the organization who helped get him there. He would also like to thank all the fans who have supported him on his professional wrestling journey. Now Gable is ready to resume competing against elite-level competition and looks forward to sharing big news with all of you very soon. Helwani then added that Stevenson's manager says multiple NFL teams have reached out to him, as well as Stevenson training MMA at Kill Cliff FC. And this is what he had to say. In addition to this, I can tell you via Dave that multiple NFL teams have reached out to Gable Steveson. He does have that extra year of eligibility, and he also has been training with Kill Cliff FC with Henry Hooft and Robbie Lawler. There's no shortage of opportunities to compete. So at least Gable Steveson, yes, the WWE window, the WWE aspect of his post-college career didn't seem to work out for the best. But maybe he's got a different calling. Maybe he'll end up on the gridiron for one of the many NFL teams that are looking into him, which they've been keeping close to the vest. So I don't necessarily know which of those teams have reached out to him. Or maybe we'll see Gable Steveson do what former wrestlers have done in the past, like Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, and even CM Punk for a short stint, and hit the octagon and mix it up in mixed martial arts. So we will see. I'll keep y'all posted on what Gable Steveson ends up doing post his wrestling career. And speaking of mixed martial arts and the UFC, of course, the parent or the sister company in TKO to the WWE, UFC's Derek Lewis has stated in a press conference recently that he is in talks with the WWE, and this is his quote exactly. What's the TKO? Oh, okay, yeah. We're actually in talks right now. We've been talking for a few months now. And then he would, when asked what his finishing move would be, he said something like Rikishi, we might see a stink face. So, I mean, that's cool. Derek Lewis could be one of the first crossovers since the merger of WWE and UFC to actually move from the Octagon to training in the WWE. So I will definitely keep you posted on that for sure. Big college news from the daughter of former UFC heavyweight champion and former multiple-time WWE heavyweight champion Brock Lesnar. His daughter, Maya Lesnar, has once again made waves in the world of track and field. Currently a junior at Colorado State University, she proudly represents the Rams track and field team. Recently, during the 2024 Mountain West Outdoor Championship, Maya showcased her exceptional talent among her fellow student athletes. Her contribution was pivotal in securing the Rams women's track and field team's 5th consecutive Mountain West title and their 2nd consecutive outdoor championship win. Notably, Maya clinched both the women's field and women's track performer of the meet titles after smashing her own school shot put record with a throw of 19.8 meters. This surpassed her previous record of 19.7 meters, set earlier this year at the New Mexico Don Kirby Invitational. Maya's journey to athletic excellence began to gain attention last December when she established herself as Colorado State's indoor shot put record holder with an impressive throw of 18.50 meters. However, her record was short-lived as she surpassed it just 2 months later, throwing 19.07 meters in New Mexico with her proud father Brock Lesnar in attendance. So congratulations to Brock Lesnar's daughter, Maya Lesnar. She seems to be a standout athlete, a standout student athlete in the world of track and field at Colorado State University. That's really awesome. Congratulations to her. I can see her definitely going to the Olympics and possibly winning gold in the Olympics in track and field. I definitely see that happening. Almost had a bit of deja vu the other night when I came across a video on AEW's social media pages. Tommy Billington, the nephew of the late Dynamite Kid, Of course, Dynamite Kid is the cousin of also the late, great WWE Hall of Famer, the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. They were, of course, the tag team known as the British Bulldogs back in the mid to late 80s for the WWF. Tommy Billington looks just like his uncle. I thought it was his kid, because I didn't even know that was his nephew at first, because they're literally like a spitting image of each other, and he actually took it upon himself to resurrect the nickname, the Dynamite Kid. He goes by the name Dynamite Kid Tommy Billington, and he actually had a match this past Saturday night on AEW's Saturday Night Wrestling show, AEW Collision, in his AEW debut. It was unsuccessful, unfortunately, but maybe we'll see a future in the world of professional wrestling in AEW for the Dynamite Kid Tommy Billington. Hey, shout out to Marcus Losgreat in the chat room. Just here to kick out. Oh, God. All right, fair enough. I got a laugh out of that one. He's still harping on that. I don't know. Where's your tribal chief, man? He's still crying somewhere off screen. So just FYI, at least my champ is still the champ, Big update in the Vince McMahon Janelle Grant sex scandal lawsuit. Earlier today, Vince McMahon's legal team submitted a new statement as they continued to push for arbitration in Janelle Grant's lawsuit against McMahon. In the statement, McMahon's side wrote, "Should the court find it necessary to conduct a hearing on any issue, defendant respectfully reserves his right to introduce additional evidence that bears on witness credibility, sophistication, state of mind, and similar issues." In the filing, McMahon's side maintains that they submitted undisputed facts and that they had the right to introduce additional evidence that bears on witness credibility, sophistication, state of mind, and similar issues. The company also submitted a memorandum of law in which they state that they dispute Grant's allegations, but not that the matter cannot be heard in court because Grant agreed to arbitrate her claims. WWE also argues that Grant does not have actionable claims because he caused the separation and non-disclosure agreement she signed with McMahon and the WWE, the monetary benefits of which she concededly accepted and retained, contains an arbitration provision that unambiguously there we go, precludes this court from adjudicating her claims. Furthermore, WWE cites the non-disclosure agreement that Grant signed in 2022, in which she agreed to waive any right to pursue a lawsuit or make legal claims against McMahon or WWE. WWE also argues that the agreement includes a clear and ambiguous arbitration provision. WWE also counters Grant's side's argument that the NDA was made non-binding by the Speak Out Act and Victims of Trafficking and Violence Protection Act of 2000 by asserting that the laws do not apply to arbitration. So that is the update there. So Vince is still trying to cover his ass from all his misdeeds. Don't see that going very well for him in the future. So we're gonna take a short little break, guys. We'll be back, and we're gonna get into the countdown for the top 10. Well, not really top 10. Technically, I guess it's 10, but the top wrestling matches from each year of the IE Sports Radio's Decade of Dominance from 2014 to 2024. We'll be right back in just a moment. Stay tuned, guys.
What's good, everyone? It's Drewski, the host of Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. On this station, we cover everything in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area, From we cover the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Stars, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Wings, Texas Rangers, TCU, SMU, we cover it all right here every Wednesdays from 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you stay live with me on the Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we are back once again, and you're tuning in live to the IE Wrestling Show. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Just please hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and just to give it a thumbs up and show some love to the IE Wrestling Show. And please like, share, and subscribe to the IE Sports Radio, and just give us a like, share, and subscribe, and show some love, guys. Continue to so we can continue for another decade of dominance here in 2034. So, guys, with it being the 10-year celebration of IE Sports Radio, I took it upon myself to go back in my memory bank and think about what were my favorite matches from each year since being a part of IE Sports Radio. And so I'm going to start from 2014 all the way to right now in 2024. All right. Let's get this started, guys. I'm excited. So, for 2014, I have to put a special mention first, and I talked about this earlier in my intro. This was the match that led to the WWE debut of Sting at Survivor Series 2024. So this is an honorable mention here for the year 2014. The Survivor Series elimination match, the main event for that year was Team Cena versus Team Authority. And the stipulation was, if Team Cena lost the match, they would all be fired, except for Cena. Cena was putting it all on the line. He was competing for all his teammates' jobs in this match. And if the Authority lost, the Authority would be disbanded. They would be no more. And it came down to the wire. It came down to the last surviving members of each team. Seth Rollins was a member of the Authority, and Dolph Ziggler, who now wrestles as Nick Nemeth on the independent scene, was the last surviving member for Team Cena. And it came down to the wire. Triple H had interfered in the match and was about to seemingly cost Team Cena the match and keep the Authority in power, and that's when we heard an unfamiliar theme song hit in the arena. and then these images of crows and just dark images flashed across the screen, and then you saw this man with a white and black painted face enter the arena with a scorpion on his chest, and who could that be? None other than the man formerly known as the franchise of WCW, Sting. The man they call Sting, the icon Sting, entered into the arena, came face-to-face for the very first time ever with Triple H. And then he dropped Triple H with a scorpion death drop. And then he put Dolph Ziggler on top of Seth Rollins. Referee counts 1, 2, 3. The Authority is no more. Sting helped secure the victory for Team Cena in his WWE debut that year. And I had to say that was just because of the ending alone and what that meant for me and being a part of this awesome thing we call IE Sports Radio. I had to give it a special mention. I had to give it an honorable mention right now on this list. But for me, my favorite match of 2014 for that year, and this was really hard for me to go between this and the WrestleMania 30 victory of Daniel Bryan in the Superdome in New Orleans, winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship from Randy Orton and Batista in that triple threat main event at WrestleMania 30. But I had to go with a match I feel like doesn't get talked about a lot nowadays, but it definitely should. If you haven't seen this match and you are subscribed to Peacock, or if you can find it on YouTube, I say do it because it's such a beautiful match. It tells a beautiful story of the underdog doing what he can to win this match. I mean, it was very much like what Sami Zayn did with his match with Gunther at WrestleMania this year, where Sami was like the underdog. It was like he was the Rocky and Gunther was Drago. It was literally, that's how it was this year at WrestleMania, and this was definitely like, I would say this was Rocky 2, as far as this was Sami Zayn getting one last shot at the NXT Championship against the reigning defending NXT champion at the time, Adrian Neville. For those who don't know, Adrian Neville is currently known today as the Bastard Pac of AEW. And Adrian Neville and Sami Zayn told this beautiful story of this underdog trying to fight and claw his way to becoming the NXT champion, a championship that has escaped his grasp more than once. And finally, after a hula kick in the corner, 1, 2, 3, and a sold-out crowd in the Full Sail University crowd there at Winter Park, Florida, where they used to tape NXT, Sami Zayn became the NXT champion at NXT TakeOver Revolution. Not only that, this also featured the debut of Sami Zayn's best friend, Kevin Owens, and after the celebration where Sami was lifted up on the arms of the wrestlers, Adrian Neville shook his hand, he embraced Kevin Owens. Sami was on top of the world as the NXT champion for the very first time in his NXT career. Then, the turn. The long-term storytelling began. Boom! He slammed to the ground by his best friend, Kevin Owens, and then powerbombed onto the ring apron, and that's how NXT Revolution ended that night. But what a beautiful match that led to another beautiful story told between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn defeating Adrian Neville for the NXT Championship. That is my favorite match from the year of 2014. We move on to 2015, and this was a no-brainer. This was the top match I had to pick. I couldn't think of any other match that outshone this match because I thought this was the match of the year that year. I'm pretty sure I even said that whenever we did the recap for that year for the Gorilla position that year. This is my favorite match for the year 2015. NXT TakeOver Brooklyn for the NXT Women's Championship. Sasha Banks defending the NXT Women's Championship against Bayley. And what a match. This wasn't even the main event of NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, but it damn sure should have been because they absolutely stole the show. These ladies put on such a beautiful match. I know I keep repeating myself. I say beautiful match because it really was. It was a great match. They told a fantastic story. Again, I don't know who does it better, but I don't think anybody does the underdog finally winning the championship story better than the WWE. I will. That's a hill I will die on. I don't think any other wrestling company does the underdog winning the championship story better than the WWE does. They tell that story so beautifully that I don't think any other company can compete with that whatsoever. But Bayley and Sasha Banks put it all on the line. They had some beautiful spots. The crowd was just enthralled in this match, and it came down to Bayley grabbing Sasha. Boom! Bayley to belly. 1, 2, 3. Bayley finally wins the big one, becomes the NXT Women's Champion for the first time in her career. And Sasha embraces Bayley after the match, after Bayley's congratulated by the other 4 horsewomen, Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, who are watching at ringside for this entire match. And the 4 ladies raised their hands and received a well-deserved standing ovation from the Barclays Center crowd in Brooklyn, New York. That was the best match of 2015, bar none. Fight me on it, I don't care. That was the match of the year, Bayley and Sasha Banks for the NXT Women's Championship at TakeOver Brooklyn. This might be a little subjective because there was actually a lot of great matches this year of 2016, but for me, this was my favorite match of 2016. The first ever match between the GOAT, John Cena, and the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, from SummerSlam of that year. This was the very first one-on-one match these two men had ever had. It was literally like the face of the WWE versus the face of TNA. These guys were on top in both of their respective companies during the same years they were competing. AJ Styles was definitely the franchise of TNA, and arguably so, John Cena is the franchise of the WWE, or at least was, until the Tribal Chief came to fruition. But this was a match that we thought we probably would never see, and I thought they would probably save it for like a WrestleMania because it definitely had the grandiose to warrant a WrestleMania spot. But lo and behold, we got it in AJ Styles' rookie year of the WWE. January of 2016, AJ Styles left New Japan Pro Wrestling after competing in his final match at Wrestle Kingdom in a loss to Shinsuke Nakamura. I think they fought for the Intercontinental Championship at the time, the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. AJ Styles made his surprise debut. Well, it was probably one of the worst kept secrets because it was all over the internet that AJ Styles was coming to WWE. AJ Styles showed up in WWE at the Royal Rumble. He entered number 3 in the Royal Rumble that year. He went on to have a pretty great match at WrestleMania in Dallas that year against Chris Jericho. Then he ended up having 2 back-to-back banger-ass matches with Roman Reigns for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at the following pay-per-views. And then AJ Styles turned heel and started going after John Cena, which led to this match at SummerSlam, one-on-one, AJ Styles versus John Cena. And I think a lot of us AJ Styles fans were thinking like, oh no, Cena's gonna end up, it's gonna be that meme, Cena wins, LOL. Not this night. AJ Styles put on a clinic. Hell, you have to give Cena his flowers because Cena was right there with AJ every step of the way. These two brought out the best in each other. It was magical. It was like seeing, I don't know what I could really compare this to, like as far as like in terms of like dancing partners. They just put on a beautiful match, these guys. It was like, I think the only way I can really compare this to, this might be a very hot opinion. This might actually upset some people that I'm actually about to say this, but in my opinion, AJ Styles and John Cena reminded me of Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I would place Stone Cold in the John Cena role and AJ Styles in the Bret Hart role because even so, I forget who just said this year. Somebody in the WWE called AJ Styles the new excellence of execution. Like he's the modern day Bret Hart. And I think that's actually warranted. I know he used to get a lot of comparisons to Shawn Michaels, which is also very well warranted as well. But I mean, it's like AJ can't have a bad match with anyone. And that was Brett. Brett could bring the best out in anybody. And AJ is very much like that in the vein of Brett. And, and Cena is like a brawler, but just like Austin was, but with the right partner, with the right dance partner in the ring with you, you'll bring out this incredible match out of you. Like Brett brought out of Steve, so did AJ brought out of John, and that's what this match was in 2016 at SummerSlam, and AJ Styles defeated John Cena 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring, clean. No outside interference, no WWE bullshit that you used to see a lot whenever it came to Cena winning. He put AJ Styles over clean in his rookie year in the company, and literally 2 or 3 months after this, AJ Styles would win his very first WWE Championship. So, what a awesome rookie year AJ Styles had in the year 2016. "2017, this definitely is number one with a bullet. This is going to be the first non-WWE match on this list for me. 2017, Wrestle Kingdom 11 for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. This was the match that introduced me to New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is the match that introduced me to the man known as today as the Best Bout Machine, Kenny Omega. And also introduced me to the man known as the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. Okada versus Omega won for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship of the World at Wrestle Kingdom 11. Kenny Omega had become the first ever foreigner, the first foreign-born wrestler to win the G1 Climax and earn his chance to face the IWGP Heavyweight Champion in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom. Kenny Omega was in his role as the new leader of Bullet Club. This was at the height, the peak. This is like the start of the peak of the Elite, the peak of Bullet Club. This is when it all started. And this is when I started kind of being a little bit more of a jaded WWE fan, where I was still watching WWE, but it was definitely like a test of endurance to get through some shows, because it was just not watchable during this time. It really wasn't. And this is when I started looking for alternatives. I started watching Ring of Honor more. I started going back to Impact Wrestling. I started, really paying attention to the indie scene, especially around here in Fort Worth. And then I started watching New Japan Pro Wrestling, and this is when I was introduced to Kenny Omega. And Kenny Omega definitely became one of my current all-time favorite wrestlers to watch because of this match. These guys, it was different. You know what I mean? It was different. It wasn't the WWE style match. And watching it, as an American watching a Japanese pay-per-view, those Japanese crowds are very different. They're quiet a lot of the times, and they don't necessarily pop as far as cheering for moves. They do they do more of the golf claps. But then as the match progresses and the story starts to unfold, they do start to become unglued and start cheering and screaming, and then you kind of are along for the ride with them watching those type of matches. And this was definitely one of those matches. These guys have chemistry out the ass with each other. These guys cannot have a bad match against each other. Okada and Omega are almost like Batman and the Joker. They're destined to do this forever, because it'll never be a bad interaction between the two. It's always going to be entertaining. It's always going to be exciting. And that's definitely what this first interaction was. Okada was the victor this night. Okada retained the IWGP Heavyweight Championship that night, but it wouldn't be much longer before we'd see them compete for that title once again. Coming to 2018, this is actually a tie. I could not decide what to choose as far as the what would be the top match of 2018. So I went with a tie here. Street Fight at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4 Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano. The tag team now currently known as DIY, used to be known as DIY in NXT. They ended up breaking up, and it was a vicious feud, unlike anything we'd ever seen in modern day wrestling. It was very reminiscent of the breakup between Shawn Michaels and Triple H back in the day in the early 2000s. These guys were like brothers, Gargano and Ciampa, and it came to this match. I believe it actually ended. I say street fight, but I think it actually was a last man standing match for the NXT Championship. Ciampa was the NXT champion at the time. Gargano was attempting to take the NXT title away from Ciampa, and these guys really put it all out on the line. They even went so far as to rip up the ring mat and expose the plywood underneath the ring. And I think the match ended when, if I remember correctly, the ending of this match was Gargano getting DDT'd onto the plywood, the bare plywood of the ring, and he was unable to answer the 10 count, and Ciampa retained the title. And the other match I picked for 2018 was the second chance that Kenny Omega, or the final chance actually, this was actually his third chance at the IWGP Heavyweight Championship against Okada at NJPW Dominion. Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada. This was the match that Kenny finally won the big one. He finally defeated Okada, hitting his one-winged angel driver. 1, 2, 3. Kenny Omega is the new IWGP Heavyweight Champion of the world. 2019 was a different year for the world of professional wrestling. 2019 brought us the debut, the birth of All Elite Wrestling. The exodus of many superstars from Ring of Honor and the indie scene were signed up by All Elite Wrestling. And then this happened at WrestleMania 35, the match that I chose as the match of the year. Maybe not so much as ability-wise or whatever. I chose it for the story it told and the emotion that, for me, it's sentimental value for me choosing this match. Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 35. Kofi Mania, the night that Kofi Kingston finally became WWE Champion by defeating Daniel Bryan in an awesome match in front of a sold-out crowd. I forget what stadium they were in. I think it was Giant Stadium. I think they were at Giant Stadium that year for WrestleMania. This match outshined any other match that was on the card that night. The crowd loved every bit of it. We got rid of the eco-friendly World Championship and brought back the leather-strapped WWE Championship for Kofi Kingston. Big E and Xavier Woods were right there by his side, embracing him with tears. Kofi Kingston's wife and his children were at ringside. His children got to celebrate in the ring with him. Kofi Kingston became the first ever Ghanaian-born African-American world champion in the WWE's history. Our African-American champions are very few and far between in the WWE, and Kofi Kingston is definitely going to always be in the history books as one of them, but he'll always be in the history books as the first Ghanaian-born world champion in the WWE. And for that, I had to pick that match for my favorite match of 2019. 2020, the year of the pandemic, was a very, very hard year for professional wrestling. It was a very, very hard year for sports in general. I know, Larry B., I know you're listening, you know this better than anyone, how hard it was for everyone. We all know how hard it was. But, in terms of, this was probably the hardest year in the history of IE Sports Radio, for sure, because there were no sports, to really talk about. And, and I wasn't on the air talking about wrestling. Wrestling was really hard to get through. Watching wrestling without a crowd in attendance is very, very difficult. It's very trying. You got to really, really love it to really sit through a silent match with no crowd reaction whatsoever for an entire year, which is what I did, but I had to pick a match for 2020 because I couldn't ignore it. And I feel like this is a no-brainer. I had to pick this match because, one, it was the most entertaining match at WrestleMania that year, which was very hard to do. But two, this was the, to date, hopefully he doesn't come out of retirement, because I think it would desecrate this match. But this is the final match in the long storied career of the Phenom, The Undertaker. For 2020, I chose the Boneyard match between AJ Styles and The Undertaker from WrestleMania 36. This was a cinematic match in the vein of the Ultimate Deletion or the Final Deletion, from TNA and WWE, Broken Matt Hardy, that type of thing. It was cinematic. It was filmed almost like a mini movie, this match. And this was The Undertaker's final match in the WWE, because later that year in 2020 at Survivor Series, Undertaker officially retired from the WWE. Excuse me. But this match was awesome. I think it did everything it needed to do, and Undertaker handpicked AJ Styles to be his final opponent. That says something. That to give the rub to a guy who was never a WWE lifer, who definitely, I think, now is going to be a WWE lifer whenever he does retire. I could totally see AJ Styles either working for the Performance Center or working backstage as a producer once his time in the ring comes up. But the absolute respect that Undertaker bestowed upon AJ Styles to be the man to retire The Undertaker in his final match, or to wrestle The Undertaker in his final match, I mean, that's the ultimate respect right there. Undertaker was victorious in this match, burying AJ Styles alive, and then very much so, The Undertaker sat on his motorcycle and rode off into the sunset, well, technically into the darkness, like the dead man would, and that was it. That was the final match of The Undertaker. If you've never seen this match, this is definitely different. It's not your traditional wrestling match. Like I said, it's a cinematic match, but it's highly entertaining. And if you've never seen it, and just being a fan of The Undertaker, knowing what he meant to the world of professional wrestling for all these years, I think any of you guys listening live or listening on the download owe it to yourself to seek out this match and watch the final match of The Undertaker's career, the Boneyard match from WrestleMania 36 against AJ Styles. I trust me, you will not be disappointed. 2021, the match I chose for Match of the Year, the only match from AEW I chose on this list, the first ever meeting between Kenny Omega and the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson from AEW Dynamite Grand Slam. This was a fantastic match that did not have a winner. It went to a 30-minute time limit, which the live crowd did not really enjoy. Of course, they booed it out the building. But I thought this was a great way to keep the story alive, to finally get a winner eventually. And when you have two great superstars that you don't want to defeat right away, that's how you got to do it. You got to leave them wanting more, and that's what this match did. 2022, we came to another tie. I chose two matches for 2022. I could not choose between the two of them, but these were the matches I chose. The first match I chose from 2022, WrestleMania 38, Night 1, Seth freaking Rollins versus the re-debuting American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Whoa! Cody Rhodes returning to the WWE. The prodigal son had returned after leaving AEW earlier that year. Cody Rhodes, the rumor mill was abound, and the rumors were true. Cody Rhodes was the mystery opponent for Seth freaking Rollins at WrestleMania 38, and what a match it was. These guys put on a hell of a match. And then later that year, a War Games match that blew me away, that told a freaking crazy story, that continued the Bloodline story. I know Marcus is going to love this. The match I chose for one of my favorite matches of 2022, Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, and the Brawling Brutes versus the Bloodline in War Games at Survivor Series. This was the night that Sami Zayn proved his allegiance, proved his loyalty to the tribal chief and to the Bloodline by kicking his best friend Kevin Owens in the net, like Cartman would say, and then hitting him with a Helluva kick, Jey Uso goes up for a Uso splash. And 1, 2, 3, the Bloodline is the surviving team in the War Games match. My favorite match for the year 2023 last year, I talked about this already when I did my recap of 2023 for earlier this year. I believe this was the match I chose as my favorite match of the year, and I have to choose it again. The undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship match from WrestleMania 39 Night 1 is the Usos versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. What a beautiful match this was between these guys. It continued that Bloodline story. It wrapped up everything in a neat little bow between the Usos and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And it also gave us a historic moment in WrestleMania history, being the first ever tag team match to main event a first ever tag team title match to main event a WrestleMania. I had to catch myself because the very first WrestleMania main event, WrestleMania 1, it was a tag team match. Hulk Hogan and Mr. T versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff. But since there hadn't been a WrestleMania tag team main event since WrestleMania 1. So the Usos and Sami Zayn made history by defending the tag team titles in the main event of a WrestleMania for the very first time ever in WWE history. And I know I'm going over time here, but last but not least, the best match so far of the year 2024 to continue this decade of dominance for IE Sports Radio and the IE Wrestling Show. I had to choose this, and this is just for you, Marcus. I chose this one especially for you. WrestleMania 40, the undisputed WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes finishing the story and defeating the Tribal Chief to become the undisputed WWE Champion. This is the match of the year for me so far, with the crazy ups and down roller coaster ride these guys put us on. The interference of Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, John Cena, then The Rock, the final boss, then The Undertaker coming out of nowhere and chokeslamming the final boss into the ground, which then led to Roman Reigns deciding revenge was better than retaining his WWE Championship when he struck Seth freaking Rollins, who literally was Cody Rhodes' shield. And then Cody Rhodes took advantage of that distraction and hit not 1, not 2, but 3 crossroads to victory. 1, 2, 3. Your winner and new undisputed WWE Champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, which then ushered in this new era, the Paul Levesque era, that we are now currently in the WWE. And whew, guys, it is still going strong right now. We got new Bloodline members, Bloodline 2.0 I like to call it, with Solo, Tama Tonga, and Tangaloa, the Gorillas of Destiny. We got an awesome King of the Ring tournament that's been going on lately, which will culminate next week on Saturday, May 24th, with a pay-per-view in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. And then we got this awesome feud between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. We are in an awesome era of professional wrestling, guys, and that is my time. I went over way longer than I should have, but guys, thank you for joining me on this blessed day of IE Sports Radio's 10-year anniversary. Larry B., once again, my friend, I thank you. God bless you for letting me be a part of this, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Jen B., Ralph Calise, Marcus Losgreat, Taryn Rodriguez, Ralph. Man, guys, I thank you so much for always tuning in and showing me love. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the IE Wrestling Show, your direct feed for all that is professional wrestling on the only network that is your direct feed for all that is sports, IE Sports Radio. IE Sports Radio, let's go 10 more years, guys. Let's fucking go!